We are back with Nikachu, and you asked for it, so we will deliver 3 more water archetypes for you. You gave some comments down in the last video with Nikachu, and we're going to choose some water archetypes that you suggested. So if you suggest any other archetypes for us to go over on future videos, please comment them down below, because I use your comments first. Let's go ahead and get started, but this time we're going to do a little bit of a wrinkle, okay? You're not going to do what we usually do. There's going to be 3 different decks. All of them are good. You're going to tell me which one of them has been banned before.
I wish the mermaid archetypes in Magic the Gathering were all good in the past, as strong as they were in Yu-Gi-Oh! But yes, I will try to sniff out exactly which one of these. What are they called again? They have so many different types of names. I'll figure out which one of these aquatic decks were the most banned in all of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, there's a fish, sea serpent, aqua, you name it. There's a lot of different aquatic archetypes in Yu-Gi-Oh! I must ask, okay? I know you have been watching the anime, so are you have you watched any more anime since the last video?
No, I have not. You know what? They only have one season 1 on Netflix. So from here on out, I gotta pay $50 a season on YouTube. I have, however, been watching a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Clips from the movies, clips from other videos, and yeah. So I've just been surviving off of that. But frankly, I can't put a whole lot of story together from all those clips. Oh, and I've been watching a lot of those battles where they get the voice actors to duel each other at the conventions. I love them.
Yeah, those are really cool. But you can't get the full breadth of the water archetypes without watching The Legendary Fisherman. Okay, so maybe like $2 for that episode would be good for you.
Yeah, you're right. I would have a better idea of how good these things are based on the anime. I
Actually,
lean
no.
really hard on the anime to teach me how good these cards are.
Oh, you will not learn them at all. No, please don't do that. Anyway, let's go ahead and get you started with the first archetype.
I'm just going to throw out there that probably the most banned deck was the one that tutors through their deck the most. So I'm just going to prophesize that ahead of time. Ooh, we've got the Swap Frog for 2 Dragon Balls. It is an attack of 1,000 and defense of 500 for such a small frog. It is an aqua effect. You can special summon this card from your hand by discarding one other water monster. When this card is summoned, you can send 1 level 2 or lower water aqua monster from your deck or face-up field to the graveyard once per turn. You can return 1 monster you control to the hand. You can normal summon 1 frog monster during your main phase this turn, except swap. Oh, it's called Swap Frog. In addition to your normal summon set. You can only gain this effect once per turn. So are they giving me like a bunch of different options? Do this, do this, do this? Basically, I can like throw away an aqua monster to play this thing, and then when it enters the battlefield, I get to bounce something else.
You can bounce something else, or you can bounce itself.
Oh, you can bounce itself. Look at that. We're already starting off with a tutoring frog.
All right, and you can both normal summon this card, and you can also special summon it as well by discarding a water monster. Okay.
That's right. The Dup Frog. You know, a little trickery going on over here. Why is it called the Dup Frog? It looks like it's about to graduate. Did it actually fake all the exams? Did it cheat?
Yes.
All right, for 2 Dragon Balls. Attacks for almost nothing, but has, for some reason, the defense of 2,000. That's incredibly lopsided for some reason. Why give it an attack at all?
Just got a big butt.
This card's name... Yeah, big butt, big butt Dup Frog. Where's the defense coming from? The hat?
The butt.
Okay, so it's yeah, all right, I guess so. Aqua effect. This card's name becomes Des Frog while on the field. Why? Monsters your opponent control cannot target monsters for attacks, except this one. Oh, it's like a lure effect of some sort. When this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add 1 frog monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand, except Dup Frog. It's another tutor. All right, so this thing will attack. It must be killed.
It almost dupes your opponent's monsters.
That's right. It dupes them. It dupes my opponent to destroy this thing, not everything else. You can't target anything. You can't touch anything except the Dup Frog.
And then when you touch the Dup Frog and it dies, it searches.
It searches. Yeah, you search for more frogs. Could search for another dupe frog.
Well,
You could search for a swap frog.
yes, you could search for a
Actually,
swap frog.
Actually, hold on. Does it say no? It says one frog. Okay, this is a frog. Frog is a frog. Oh, sorry. To your hand, except dupe frog. Okay, everything but the dupe frog.
Yep. So you can search the swap frog. You're getting it. All right. Moving on to the next card.
I've come to realize a pattern with all these cards. They're allowed to search for anything except itself.
Yeah, because they don't allow you to like go through your entire deck. Because if a card could search itself and it could search itself again, like that could lead to a lot of infinite loop combos.
Oh yeah, as if there weren't enough already. Am I right?
You're right. They usually ban those infinite loop combos in like first turn kill combo decks, like about 6 months after they come out.
6 months. That is such agony. Well, here's an infinite loop. Just deal with it for half a year.
Correct.
Sorry, we got to sell them packs.
It might be 4 months. It's a certain amount of months that if like an FTK deck comes out, that you have to deal with it for a little bit.
Why even show up to locals when that exists? I mean, I guess unless you're playing it yourself. You win the die roll. All right, I'll concede.
Hey, you just show your opening 5 cards in your hand, and then you just see which one's better, and then the match is over.
No, you got Dup Frog that can look for Dup Frog and Dup Frog and Dup Frog again. Yeah, I guess that's GG.
Yeah,
Wish they read these cards
duped,
better,
bro.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, next one.
Next one.
Ooh, I like this frog. This sort of frog theme. It's very cute. We got Ronin Toad. Oh, this is not even a frog. It's a toad. Oh, but it's still being called frogs? Okay, it's 2 Dragon Balls. Again, attacks for almost nothing and has a huge defense of 2000. Cannot be used as synchro material. That is such a weird text. This card's name becomes Des Frog while on the field. Oh, that's the same as the last one. Dup Frog is also a Des Frog. Is that like French? Is it Des Frog?
I actually don't know. I would be very interested to know if it was Des Frog. All right, any French people down below, comment.
Yeah. So if this card is in your graveyard, you can banish 1 frog monster from your graveyard. That sounds useless to me. So if it goes in my graveyard, I can banish another frog from my graveyard to special summon this card. Oh, wait a minute. So I banish another frog to bring this frog back onto the battlefield?
Right.
Is that what this is?
It's like a grave crawler, kind of.
Yeah. Okay. So I basically exile a frog. I get this thing back.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Wow. I already see the synergy. You like swap frog brings frogs down. Dup frog. Well, whatever. They look for each other, and then as the cards go in the graveyard, you can bring this Ronin Toad thing back.
Right.
Some people might be offended that they're calling this toad a frog. I can't remember how it is. It's like I can't remember if it's all toads are frogs or all frogs are toads or something like that.
I think all toads are frogs, but not all frogs are toads.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like
so we're still
all squares are rectangles, but not rectangles aren't squares.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to the second to last card in the frog archetype.
It's a flying frog. It's a Substitoad. Badoom. Well, for 1 Dragon Ball. Again, it has 100 attack and 2000 defense. Nothing's going to get through these guys. It is an aqua effect. You contribute 1 monster to special summon 1 frog monster from your deck, except Frog the Jam. Frog the monsters except Frog the Jam cannot be destroyed by battle. Man. What does this create? So there's like, are these all the cards that I'm going to see from this archetype?
There's one more.
Okay, good, because I sort of need to find the payoff. What are we special summoning in play? Because as it looks like, you contribute 1 monster to special summon 1 frog monster from your deck, except Frog the Jam. Was that going to be broken? Was Frog the Jam too strong?
No, actually, Frog the Jam is a vanilla monster, but they have to say except Frog the Jam because because in Japan, Frog the Jam is not an actual frog monster, except in the TCG, it is. Because it has frog in the name. But it's not supposed to have frog in the name in the OCG, it's just a mistranslation. So in the TCG, in America, and everywhere besides Japan, really, they have to make the distinction on the card, except Frog the Jam.
It'd be such chaos in Magic to have a completely separate game depending on region.
Yeah, it's not a completely separate game, it's just like, sometimes things get mistranslated.
Well, no, but don't they have like a different ban list?
They do have a different ban list.
Yeah, well then you have a separate game. It's like, oh, this is the Japanese ban list. Like, why don't they converge the things?
That is a very good question. That is
Good question.
some people
No
want them to
answer.
merge them. Some people like them the way it is.
Whatever.
Let's
Which
go.
one's more popular?
Which one's more popular?
Yeah.
I mean, there's more people that play outside of Japan than people play in Japan, but per capita, Japan.
All right. What's considered like the official Yu-Gi-Oh format?
Ah, that's loaded. Oh, I'm gonna say Japan. I'm gonna say the OCG is the official
it's the
one.
OG place.
The OCG is the official
born.
one. And I think there's a lot of things that could be the same between the TCG and the OCG.
We don't know. We don't play the OCG.
We don't play the OCG here, but there are people that watch this video that probably play the OCG. Let's go ahead and go on to the last card, and this one is.
Oh, it looks like it's totally awesome. I love how they can make fun of themselves in Yu-Gi-Oh. A lot more puns in this game. This one attacks for everything and defends for nothing.
I gotta say one thing about the puns thing you just said about Magic, because they just started doing more things like that. They made a card called Holy Cow.
They made one called Holy Cow. They made there's a killer among us. There's very every so often they'll try a little something, but they obviously it's not as big as this.
There's a lot more puns now in this new set. There's a card called Shoot the Sheriff, and then the flavor text is So Where's the Deputy?
Yeah, I guess so. It was their pun set it was their opportunity to throw more puns in there. Okay, this is an Aqua XYZ effect. I forget, what is it? What are these called? Xyz. Yes, let's just pronounce the end of the alphabet for no particular reason. Okay, it's an Xyz effect. Now this is we gotta get in here for a little second. This is a level 2 Aqua type monster. Once per turn during the standby phase, you can detach one Xe material from this card. Special summon one frog monster from your deck. Once per turn during either player's turn, when your opponent activates a spell/trap card or a monster effect, you can send one Aqua type monster from your hand or face up from the field to the graveyard. Negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Then you can set it to your field. So what? We're commandeering the thing?
Yes.
Oh my god! And for only one creature.
You have to put 2 level 2 monsters on top of each other. 2 level 2 aquas.
No, but what are we sacrificing?
One of the
one Aqua type monster from your hand or face up from your field. Oh, so we can. But if I understand, we sack we sack one from the field or one from our hand.
Right.
Well, that's even more insane. You just discard something from your hand and boom, it's gone. No, it's not gone. We get it.
Yeah, you can also sack itself.
Graveyard. Pardon me?
You can also sack itself.
Oh yeah, of course. So, destroy that card. You can set it to your field. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one water monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. This is actually just Vidalian Hexcatcher, except it seems to be... But I get control of the thing that I countered.
Yeah, it's like Hexcatcher.
It's an upgraded Hexcatcher, upgraded to Counterspell, and I commandeer it all at the same time.
Correct.
Absolutely busted. Absolutely busted. And the fact that we can tutor this thing onto the battlefield, I think is wild. So I mean, this deck seems like a front runner to be the most broken deck. I just counter everything you have and I take control of it. Oh yeah, that's fair. And on top of that, people hate it when you play with their cards. After all, why did they buy them for themselves? Thank you very much for buying your cards. It would be a shame if someone else played them against you.
Yep. Okay. I mean, all of these 3 decks are going to be good. You're just going to have to figure out which one of them has been banned. Let's go on to the next archetype.
Well, if annoying was a metric, this one would be banned for being annoying.
Oh my god. There's so many people that would agree with you right now. That's funny.
You agree with me in that comment section below.
That's funny. All right, let's go ahead and go on to the next archetype. We talked about this one in the last video I did with you about this archetype.
Okay, this is the Fairy of the Goatee. It's
oh my gosh, they should all have goatees. Oh, exactly. That's a flavor fail.
Was a missed opportunity by Yu-Gi-Oh! A very rare misstep by them. For 2 Dragon Balls, this also attacks for nothing, and it is has 500 defense. What is it? Oh, it's a fairy?
It is a
Well,
fish.
fairies in Magic, they fly.
It is
Here,
a
I guess they're
fairy
like
of the
more
goatee, and it's also a fish.
It looks like a jellyfish of some sort. All right, well, it's a fish tuner effect. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 fish monster you control. It gains 500 attack until end of turn. During the standby phase of the next turn after this card was banished, you can special summon this banished card. During your opponent's main phase, if this card was special summoned this turn, you can quick effect immediately after this effect resolves. Synchro summon 1 fish synchro monster using this card you control. You can only use each effect of Chief Fairy of the Goatee once per turn. Okay, I'm gonna level with you. I didn't get any of this. It's just doing too much. I got the part where it buffs something else for 500 attack. That one was easy to absorb. During the standby phase. Well, why would it get banished?
Because remember when we talked about Mermails and Atlanteans, and you said, "Oh, how do you get card advantage from this Mermail deck?" And then I was like, "Well, there's some things that there's some water decks that want you to banish cards from your graveyard. Like, why would it want to get banished?"
Okay.
And I was like, "Well, the goatees want to banish, and these are the goatees."
Okay, so it just so happens if this gets banished, you get an extra effect out of it.
Right.
Okay. Then you can special summon it after. So you can special summon it after it gets banished.
Yes.
So it's like exile this creature. If it is exiled, play it.
Right.
It is back. Okay. Okay, I think I got it now.
Yeah,
it's just a bit weird at the end. So out of nowhere, it's like, if it's exiled, like, it's all part of one big paragraph. I can't discern the different abilities from each other. In Magic, like, if it has a special ability, it's going to be in its own paragraph, and you go to another paragraph for a separate special ability. It all feels like the same thing here.
Well, you can differentiate them by where there's a period. When there's a period and it goes to the next sentence, then it starts the next thing.
We also have periods in Magic the Gathering.
I wasn't being facetious. I wasn't.
Yeah.
I was being serious. Oh.
I know you were.
That's the funny part. Okay, let's go. It's kind of like the flavor behind them getting banished and coming back and stuff is that, like, getting banished is like into the deep of the water, the super deep water, you know? Yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the next goatee card. It's like some water cards go into the graveyard to be like in the deep water, but these are super deep water.
Yeah, super deep water, just like that submarine. What was that called?
Oh no.
Ocean Gate or something like that. I don't remember the actual. They're in the deep water now. Deep water with the Fairy of the Goatee. Okay, we got Merc of the Goatee. It is a double Dragon Ball that also attacks for nothing. Wow, fish are powerless, but it defends for 1,500. Now, if a fish monster is on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand. If a monster is special summoned to your opponent's field, except during the damage step, you can target one of those monsters and one of your banished level 6 or lower fish monsters. Banish both that opponent's monster and this card, and if you do, special summon your targeted monster. During the standby phase of the next turn after this card was banished, you can special summon this banished card. You can only use each effect of Merc of the Goatee once per turn. That's great. If this banish that, and if it's banish, and banish. That makes it really easy to understand.
Actually,
so, like,
you're right. You're right.
Yeah. It gets easier as you read. Actually, it does not. So basically, you have the ability to banish this and something else. To take something else down with it.
Yes, and then you summon, and then the one you banish gets summoned, and then at the next standby phase, because you banished this comes back.
Yeah. Okay. So it does get to come back to rebanish again.
That's in a lot of words. It basically just says banish this in your opponent's thing. Summon one of your banished goatees. Level 6 or lower.
Yes.
And then on the next turn, summon this back in your standby phase. That's all it says.
Interesting. Yeah. You really should have designed the cards. I mean, I don't see why we can't explain this in more layman terms.
But it
But
also has the effect that, like,
I guess it would,
if there's a fish monster on the field, you can just summon this out of your hand as a special summon. So it can do
yeah,
that too.
yeah, of course.
All right. That's basically all you need to know about this. There's a lot of paragraphs just to say what I just said.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the next card.
I can tell Yu-Gi-Oh prioritizes their gigantic art more than the text. That's a second thought. In fact, look at all the space wasted just to put the Dragon Balls there. Like, they can't put it anywhere else. They could put it in the top right corner of the art and then just shift the art up a smidge up to the title of the card. But instead, yeah, we have these 2 Dragon Balls. Oh, I guess sometimes it's like 8. Okay, so maybe they need the space. Whatever.
All right, Konami, hire this man. All right.
Yeah.
Moving
I'm
on.
gonna fix your game.
You know how the Keef says that you can summon a level 6 or lower from your banish pile? Well, this might be one of those.
Okay. Ooh, we're going for the 6, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. The Moonlight of the Goatey. It is a 6 Dragon Ball creature with 2,400 attack and defense of nothing. Well, I'm sorry, it is a monster, but it is a fish effect. Now, if this card is normal or special summoned, you can add 1 fish monster from your deck to your hand. All right, so we got a little bit of tutoring going on over here. Except 6 Moonlight of the Goatee. Then banish 1 fish monster from your hand or face-up field. If that card is banished, you can banish 1 fish monster from your hand, graveyard, or face-up field, except 6 Moonlight of the Goatee. Special summon this card. You can only use each effect of this card once per turn. Well, let me reread this. Okay, it tutors. Does it matter how this thing gets banished? Like, if it's banished from the field or banished from the graveyard, does it still get its trigger?
Does not matter where it gets banished from.
Okay, so it just gets, if it's banished, period. So if it just gets exiled no matter what, that's a creative mechanic. I don't think we have anything like that in Magic the Gathering.
Oh, in Magic, if it's exiled straight to the Shadow Realm, doesn't come back.
Well, unless it's Mist Hollow Griffin.
Yep.
Or that Scourge Eldrazi. So very few exceptions. Well, so what it says is, like, if it's banished, I can, like, banish another thing from my hand or in play to replay this thing. Is that what it's basically trying to tell me?
Yeah. Like, imagine, like, you know that the Keef can summon this back out of your banish pile, so that when this is summoned, you get to add the fish monster from your deck to your hand, and then banish 1 fish. So this is a perpetual tutor. It just keeps doing that.
What I'm reading, yeah, it's a perpetual tutor. So it enters the battlefield. I get to tutor for something. Then if I can banish it, then it's gonna come back. I can sack something or discard something. It comes back, and I can tutor again.
Yeah, if you like, you can tutor for Keef, right? And then you can summon, and then you can banish the Keef because you can banish 1 from your hand, and then Keef will trigger to summon itself on your opponent's standby phase, and now you have a 6 and a Keef, right?
Yeah.
So then you get to, so then when Keef is on the board and 6 gets banished again, then you can use Keef to summon the 6 again, and just like repeat the process.
That's something I actually didn't catch. You can banish things from your hand, so exiling things from hand. So basically, you can exile this thing from your hand.
Yes, and then
is that like a weird alternate way to just play this thing?
Yeah, because it's level 6. You would have to tribute summon this card to actually put it in play. The only real way you can put it in play profitably, basically, is to special summon it. And Keef just does that. It says summon a level 6 or lower fish from your banish pile or Goatey.
What's wild is there's still 2 more cards we have to read from this archetype.
I know, that's wild. It took you 13 years to read this card. It's just confusing. Okay. Moving on to the next banish to banish, and then you banish the banish deck.
This might be more broken than the Vidalian Hexcatcher archetype. It's like more of like Vidalian Commandeer archetype.
Moving on to the next card that is should have a mustache and beard.
Okay, Arion Serpent of the Goatee. For 6 Dragon Balls. It attacks for 2,100 and defends for nothing because it has no plans to defend. But this is a fish synchro effect. Now, it requires 1 tuner and 1 non-tuner monster. If this card is synchro summoned, you can banish 1 level 6 or lower fish monster from your deck. If this card is sent to the graveyard as synchro material, you can target 1 fish monster in your graveyard. Banish that target, then you can add one fish monster with an equal or lower level from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect of Arion Serpent of the Goatey once per turn. So basically, this thing is going to eat up the last thing that we just had, because that's like a level 6.
Yes.
So we can banish one level 6 or lower monster
from your deck.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So basically, this is like was that like a tutor?
Yeah, it's like tutoring to level 6.
Okay, tutoring. Well, in this case, because we want to banish our stuff,
right?
The banish zone is basically your hand in this game.
In this deck, this is like one. This is like one of the good banish decks. There's like a few of them, like Fluanderies, which can recycle their things from the banish pile. This one also does that.
It's tutoring way better than that frog deck. I thought, ooh, this frog deck is hot. Tutors for this, tutors for this. This one tutors even more, but in a more bonkers way.
Are you ready for the last card in the goatee archetype?
All right, yeah, let's see the goatee finisher. These all look like payoffs, to be honest. I mean, they attack for
They're all payoffs.
This attacks for a question mark. And then we've got, well, how many This is 10 Dragon Balls. Goatee of the Deep Beyond. Gigantic fish synchro effect. Now, it requires one fish tuner and one non-tuner monster. The original attack of this card becomes 500x the number of banished monsters. If this card is synchro summoned during your opponent's turn, you can banish all cards on the field. What? During the standby phase of the next turn, after this card was banished from the monster zone, you can special summon this banished card. So it basically enters the battlefield, wipe everything else out.
Yep. And then summon itself back.
And to some degree, and also it buffs itself for all the stuff that you banished of your own as well.
And your opponents.
Oh, really? It counts number of all banished monsters, not the ones that you even control. Okay. That's big payoff. You can and you can special summon this banished card. So if it gets banished, and certainly we might even do that on our own, we can bring it back.
Right. It won't have that other effect again, because it only works when it's synchro summoned on your opponent's turn, not special summoned. But you'll get that banish effect once, and then it will keep coming back as a huge monster, because the attack is going to be a lot, because it gets 500 times the number of banished monsters.
On average, how big can this thing get?
In this deck? I mean, I guess that's the only context we're talking about. So yes, in this deck.
Yeah.
Depends on how many monsters your opponent has when you use this, right? If your opponent has a full board of 5 or 6 monsters, and then you synchro summon this on your opponent's turn, banish all 6 of them, that's 3,000 attack right there, not including your own banished monsters. So it can get over 3, 4, 5,000 attack like pretty easily.
What's like a pretty big attack in Yu-Gi-Oh?
3,000.
What's like a 3,000?
3,000 is like pretty big.
I don't know what the bar is.
The bar is 3,000.
Even in Magic the Gathering means nothing to me.
The bar is 3,000.
All right, gotcha.
If it's over 3,000, it's like, wow,
so,
I really have to try to attack over this thing. If it's under 3,000, you're like, okay, I just get to summon my 3,000 attack monster and attack over it. 3,000 is basically the cutoff right now.
But like, okay, against a control deck, this looks like it's gonna suck. I mean, I might be wrong. Maybe control decks still play with a lot of monsters.
I mean, it doesn't say banish all monsters on the field. It says banish all cards on the field.
Oh, it's more of like a farewell card.
Yes.
Farewell attached to the deep beyond. So long, suckers. All right.
Yep.
This is quite the payoff we have over here.
Yeah, it brings all the cards, even your opponent's cards, into the deep beyond. It banishes them all into the depths of the ocean.
We all go down like the Titanic.
Exactly. This turns your opponent's monsters into the Titanic. Okay.
Yeah.
That's it for the goatee archetype, and unfortunately they don't have mustaches and beards. Let's go ahead and go to the third water archetype. Are you ready to get your mind absolutely blown? MBT. The Yu-Gi-Oh players will get that.
Marincess, the blue Tang for 4 Dragon Balls. Attacks for quite a bit right off the start. I mean, way more powerful than the damn frogs. And it's a Cyburst effect. What the hell is a Cyburst?
Like, you know, like a cyber creature, like a Cyberman, a Cyberwoman.
Cyber water? You know, I don't really associate with cyber with, you know, the elements of nature.
Well, you better start.
Very well. Yeah, I know. Yugioh went deep.
Literally.
This is the future. In the metaverse, it'll make more sense when I'm in the metaverse.
Deep into the metaverse.
Yeah. Where we can feel water again. Like as if I could do that in the real world.
We haven't felt water for so long. We can feel it again.
If the card is normal or special summoned, you can send one marincess monster from your deck to the graveyard. I guess. Oh, there's more marincesses out there.
Yeah, it's an archetype.
Except Marincess Blue Tang. If this card is sent to the graveyard as material for the link summon of a water monster, you can excavate the top 3 cards of your deck. I'm assuming that's mill.
Reveal.
Oh, reveal?
Yep.
And if you do, you can add one excavated Marincess card to your hand. Also shuffle the rest into your deck. You can only use this effect of Marincess Blue Tang once per turn. Is there like anything you can do twice per turn? Because it seems like they have to add this legal speak at the end of every single card.
Because if they don't, there's going to be infinite combos.
But isn't there like a nature where you can say you can only use all effects once per turn? Or
no, because then that would turn off all the cards that don't say once per turn.
Okay. Yeah, ask your doctor if Marincess Blue Tang is right for you.
Oh my god. Yu-Gi-Oh players in shambles in the comments.
Yeah. So this is card advantage, at the very least. Deck to the graveyard. So we tutor for a card, and also we excavate the top cards. We can take a Marincess card. All right, that's all I'm gathering from this. And if this card is sent to your graveyard as material for the link summon of a water monster. So we have to use this for material. So if this is fodder for something, then we use it as card advantage.
Right. So
yeah.
A link summon is just like a synchro summon, as you've seen in the past, but it's almost exactly like a synchro summon. It's just easier to do. You just put the card in the graveyard and then summon the thing out of your companion zone.
Thank you for calling it the companion zone.
I know I have to, because I have to make the Yu-Gi-Oh players angry.
We have to translate this for the poor Magic the Gathering player.
Okay, moving on to the next card.
Okay, Marincess Spring Girl. It's for 4 Dragon Balls. Also attacks for 1200, defense of 1000. It's a Cyberse effect. You can banish one Marincess monster from your graveyard. Special summon this card from your hand. If this card is sent to the graveyard as material for the link summon of a water monster, you can send cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard equal to the number of Marincess monsters you control. Then if a Marincess card was sent to the graveyard by this effect, inflict 2... Hold on. Whoa. Okay, then if a Marincess card... bracket S end bracket was sent to the graveyard by this effect, inflict 200 damage to your opponent for each Marincess card sent. You can only use each effect of Marincess Spring Girl once per turn. So this is like some sort of gigantic blast to their face. If you can somehow reveal enough cards from your deck equal to the number of Marincess monsters you control. Oh, but we have to have a bunch of monsters in play. Wait, you're limited to 5 or 6 or something like that?
5 main monster zones and 1 extra monster zone that only extra deck monsters can go into.
Okay, yeah.
So 6
total, you must not have heard of the special new rules. I get to have a special monster zone.
Yugi must have not got the memo.
No, I saw that in one of the Kaiba versus Yugi voice actor duels.
Yeah.
Kaiba was schooling Yugi about the new updated rules. You have more than 5 monsters in play. That's illegal, said Yugi.
That's funny. Okay, so
Kaiba will be on the rules.
We grasped the Marincess Spring Girl, special summon out of your hand, banish one out of the graveyard, mill stuff, burn your opponent. Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next card.
Just an aside, I think Kaiba is probably a huge rules shark. That's the only way he became world champion.
Probably is a huge rule shark, honestly. Speaking of sharks, there's a whole shark archetype that I have not told you about yet that will not be in this video. There's more water ones.
This is more of like an anime girl archetype than anything else.
Yeah, basically.
Like, how can we squeeze some anime girls into the water archetype? Well, this is it. The Marincesses. Marincess Blue Slug. Anyone who loves the anime girl archetype, I know why.
Well, they're marine princesses. Okay. Marincess.
Ah, that's what it is. The marine princesses. Okay, this looks like an AI-generated card, because all of a sudden the attack is 1500, but the defense is literally link -1.
It's not a minus, it's just that's the link rating, link 1. It means that you have to put 1 monster from your board into the graveyard to summon this out of your companion zone.
But then, like, what does it defend for? Nothing?
Right, it cannot be in defense position, and it defends for nothing, yeah.
Okay, so it is a Cyberse link effect. One level 4 or lower marincess monster. If this card is link summoned, you can target one marincess monster in your graveyard, except marincess blue slug. Add it to your hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn, except water monsters. Well, probably we're going to just have water monsters. You can only link summon marincess blue slug once per turn. So what is hold on, what is the big deal of this? Do we need one level 4 or lower marincess monster in play?
Yep. And you just
Okay,
put
and
it in
then
the
if this
graveyard.
card... Oh, so I just dump this thing immediately?
No, you put the level 4 or lower marincess monster that you just normal summoned into the graveyard to summon this out of your extra deck. And then it counts as being link summoned, and then you do the effect.
So like link summoned is basically special summoned.
Yes. It is a special summon.
It is a type of special summon.
Yes, it is.
But they don't want to call it special summon. They got to call it link summon. They got to call it something else. Because the game can't be... We're not allowed to have this game be as straightforward as possible.
Well, it is a link summon, since if you got to special summon this card out of the graveyard, it would not be considered link summoned. It would be considered special summoned. So if the card said if this card is special summoned, it would still activate if you summoned it from other zones other than the extra deck.
So it's link summon when you summon it from the companion zone.
Yes.
Or the command zone.
Yep.
So you can target one marincess monster in your graveyard, except marincess, and add it to your hand. So we can recycle the graveyard. Okay, marincess coral anemone. This
Anemone.
is... What, is it an enemy?
An
enemy.
Have you seen Finding Nemo? Where he where Nemo mispronounces anemone, and then everyone from then on knows how anemone is pronounced.
I was watching Finding Nemo from somebody else's screen on the airplane. You know, I'm one of those people.
I'm not.
I sort of understood the plot. It was good enough for me.
I'm not one of those people. You're like watching your opponent's show because you don't have a show to watch. Why did I say opponent? Yeah. Everyone's an opponent, even the people on the plane.
Yeah. Yeah, I will not bother like scrolling through the movies on the airplane, but I'll watch someone else's movie from far away. No one can tell. It just looks like I'm just staring off into space.
You're staring off into their computer screen.
Yeah. Okay, so attacks for 2,000 has a link of -2, or like whatever, link 2. What does that mean? Like, we need to link 2 monsters now?
Yes, 2 monsters or a link 2 or higher monster. But yes, or link 2 monsters.
Okay.
It's a little bit confusing, the link rating thing, but basically 2 monsters.
Yeah, I almost get this idea that the more complicated these cards get, like the more powerful they are, given like that was the nature of the show, more or less up to this point. Anyway, Cyber's link effect. 2 water monsters. You can target 1 water monster with 1,500 or less attack in your graveyard, which is most of the cards on the show. Special summon it to your zone. This card points to? The hell is that supposed to mean?
Yeah, you see those arrows? The red arrows?
Yes.
It's a link 2, so it has 2 arrows on that scope of arrows there. And then you get to do special things based on things that you summon into this.
I remember. And then if they're full, you can't play it at all?
What do you mean?
Like if the zones are full, doesn't it get like put in that side of the field or something to that effect? Or maybe maybe I'm looking at this wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of Pendulum.
Yeah, you're thinking of Pendulum.
I'm thinking of Pendulum. Okay. Backspace. Okay, if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can target 1 marincess card in your graveyard, except marincess coral anemone. Sorry, anemone.
Anemone.
Anemone? Anemone?
Anemone.
Anemone.
We're literally doing the freaking Finding Nemo thing right now. It's so funny.
Yeah. I'm gonna look at the clip after this.
Yeah.
Okay, except marincess card and enemy, add it to your hand. You can only use each effect of princess, coral, and enemy once per turn. I don't really get this card. So you can target 1 water monster with 1,500 or less attack in your graveyard. Special summon it to your zone. This card points to. You cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn, except water monsters. This card is sent from the field to the graveyard. You can target 1 marincess in your graveyard. So it's just another fancy way of bringing a card from the graveyard to your hand. It seems really convoluted though.
There's a concept in Yu-Gi-Oh called link climbing, where you use links to summon other links. So the link 1 summon one more monster, and then you can summon a link 2. The link 2 adds a card back, and then it summons a card back into the arrow, right? So then you can use that monster and the other monster to summon a link 3, and then keep going. Basically, it's called link climbing.
I'd have to see it in action.
You'd have to see it in action, yeah. So let's say you have one link monster and one other monster. You can link both of those into a link 2 since it's 2 monsters. And then if that link 2, like Marincess, Coral, Anemone, summons a monster back from your graveyard, now you have a link 2 and a monster. 2 plus 1 is 3, so you can summon a link 3 out of your extra deck. And then and then you can get another monster on the board, and then link the link 3 and the link 1, 3 plus 1 into is 4. So you can summon a monster theoretically that is a link 4 from your extra deck. And so you're basically like
together.
You're link climbing, yeah. Anyway, so are we do we know what Coral Anemone does more or less?
No, but we can move on to the last card.
You still don't know what it does.
I mean, I understand what the card does. I don't fully understand how this link thing works because I would have to really see it in action.
Well, I just told you.
Yeah, well, it's meaningless to me.
Okay. Oh no, my explanations aren't good enough. What are we gonna do? Moving on.
Well, I understand the concept. Like these things will get bigger and tutor for bigger and better things. I just don't understand how the exact mechanics of it work.
Oh, you just put the monster into the graveyard and summon the thing out of your extra deck.
That's all it is. You dump your card.
It's like synchro summoning. Yeah, you put them in the graveyard, the link materials, and then you summon the link monster out of your extra deck
from play. Things get dumped to the graveyard from play.
Yes,
from the battlefield,
and then you put the card from your companion zone into play.
Okay.
All right, moving on to the last card.
Okay, so I'm guessing this is the big payoff card. It looks beautiful. It's the Marincess. The Great Bubble Reef. Does not have a picture of a reef anywhere in this art. Barely bubbles either. Huge flavor fail. Has a flower. Okay, it's a Cyber Link effect. For an attack of 2,600 and a link of 4. Plus no Dragon Balls. I just noticed that. These things have no Dragon Balls.
Nope, they just have link ratings.
It's a link effect?
They just have link ratings, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, we got a +2 water monsters. Once per turn during the standby phase, you can banish one face-up water monster you control or in your graveyard. Draw 1. Each time a monster is banished, this card gains 600 attack for each monster banished until the end of this turn. You can send one water monster from your hand to the graveyard. Special summon one of your banished Marincess monsters. You can only use this effect of Marincess Great Bubble Reef once per turn during the standby phase.
So it's not during your standby phase, it's the standby phase. So you can do that on each player's standby phase. So it's like basically always 3,200 attack at least. It buffs it by 600.
Which is above the bar that we agreed.
It is above the bar. Yeah, that's what makes it good.
What is everyone's life total? Was it 8,000 or something? Yeah. I'm confused because in the anime, it's 4,000.
Yep.
I'm just like, modern day Yu-Gi-Oh cards will kill you in one shot.
Yeah, they will.
So every single time we banish something, it gets upgraded by 600 attack.
Just till end of turn.
Yeah. So it's just a temporary thing. But can't we just loop the other cards over and over again? Or at least a lot? To like just, I don't know, give this thing an outrageously large attack of like, I don't know, at least 5 times.
Well, the other cards like special summon back from, the other cards special summon back from the graveyard and add cards back to your hand. Like this is one of the, like you're not doing a lot of banishing outside of Marincess Great Blue Reefs effect.
Oh, I'm thinking of the other archetype then. I'm thinking of
I guess you could put Goateys and Marincesses together and then make this like 8,000 attack.
Exactly. That's an archetype waiting to be discovered. That'd be hilarious if I accidentally found like a new version of this deck.
Someone just attacks for like 10,000 with Marincess Great Blue Bubble Reef.
That's right. That's the idea. So okay, so what you're basically telling me like that is not that relevant.
I mean, it's relevant. It just, you know, plus 600 attack isn't the end of the world.
The idea, well, then what is useful about this card? Discarding a water monster from your hand so that to special summon your banished Marincesses?
That, and so basically, like, you get to banish one of your monsters, and then you get to special summon the monster that you banished. So, like, you could banish a really good monster from your graveyard, and then you get a monster back from your banished, the same one that you just banished, right? You can banish one on your turn, let's say, and then in your opponent's standby phase, you get to, like, summon it back, right?
Well, then we are still banishing things. So this is like a 1-card win condition.
Or not summon it back. You get to draw a card. This card draws a card.
Yeah, I
draws a
understand.
bunch of cards too.
Yeah, so this you banish cards, and hopefully attack for a bazillion. I think. Hope I'm understanding this card correctly. You know, one good thing about this archetype is like all the links of the entire archetype at least attack for a decent chunk by themselves. I don't know how relevant that is, because maybe you just want to link yourself all the way up to a Marincess the Great Bubble in like 1 to 2 turns.
Usually 1 turn.
Usually, yeah, all the good decks, you want to do everything in 1 turn. Whatever things attack for early on, that's completely useless.
Yeah, you want basically want to make the bubble race, start drawing cards, and then kill your opponent.
I think I more or less understand how this works.
Okay, so that begs the question. Okay, which one of these 3 decks has gotten annihilated on the ban list?
So the deck that has the most updated looking and most convoluted cards is the Marincess deck. I mean, they're literally playing with link monsters. The problem is I don't fully 100% understand what the hell this deck is trying to do. I do understand the Goatee deck, how they tutor into the Goatee of the Deep Beyond, and then this is just like a, basically a one-sided board wipe. But on the other hand, like, how useful is that going to be? I mean, it'll be good on the draw, right? Because your opponent has a big turn, and then you follow it up with your turn, just blast their board to oblivion. But it looks less useful on the play.
Well, when you're on the play,
because your opponent has no board.
Well, when you're on the play, the little goatees, the level 2 ones, the 2 Dragon Balls ones, they have the ability to synchro summon on your opponent's turn. I don't know if you remember reading that.
Oh, no, I don't. That is a huge hint to me. All right, that's very, very useful. I want to say this Toad thing is great, but all the Toads suck. And in the end, I mean, I really like this effect of sacking frogs to counter everything. I'm just gonna take a guess that this is like really, really weak though, because all the little chains are weak, and probably there is some. So hold on, what is the idea here? You can send 1 aqua type monster from your hand or face up field. Well, that is still strong. It'll be annoying. Don't get me wrong, but it's not busted. Like you just they could just like throw away like. Well, I guess you get to choose the important thing though, right? You only do it once per turn, so your opponent can't just bait you out with the crappy cards first.
Unless you keep bringing the Ronin Toad in back over and over again and summon 2 Totally Awesomes on your board.
Or does it remember its effect? Like if I sacrifice Totally Awesome and then bring it back, does it look like a new Totally Awesome? Just out of curiosity?
Yes.
Is that possible here? I'm not good enough to know. I mean, I understand the synergy, but I don't know. I can't see if there's exactly an infinite loop here.
Like Totally Awesome's effect is what we call like a soft once per turn. It doesn't say like you can only use this effect of Totally Awesome once per turn. It just says once per turn you can do this, right? Once per turn during the player's turn. Yeah. So if you have multiple copies of Totally Awesome, you can counter multiple spells. And if you bring the Totally Awesome back from the graveyard somehow, you get to use it again.
So if I better understand, can we like get this Goatee of the Deep Beyond like in play at instant speed?
Yes, you can.
Okay, this is busted. I think this has to be the win condition. Like no matter what you do, play or draw, I will wipe out exactly what you have in play. So you better not even do anything at all. It seems above and beyond, especially if you can do this on somebody else's turn.
You can.
Yeah, I really like this Dup Frog thing, but this can't be the archetype that got banned. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's very time period specific, but the fact that we can instant speed Goatee of the Deep Beyond in play, I'm gonna say that this archetype got banned.
Okay. It would seem that way.
Not a good
it would seem that way. But the correct answer is frogs.
Really?
Yeah.
It was that good.
Well,
it was close.
There were multiple times, actually, where frogs got hit on the ban list. Multiple times. It didn't just get hit on the ban list once. It got the double treatment, okay? There was a combo.
We gotta ban these damn frogs.
There was a combo.
Yeah, my heart was into this thing, but I couldn't believe that, like, because, well, I mean, there's not that many exiling effects. Like, I just wanted to say that there's got to be some way to disrupt this damn thing.
There's a
And I guess
combo
not.
with Swap Frog, Ronin Toad, Substitute, and a card called Mass Driver. It is a spell card, a continuous spell card that says you can tribute one monster to deal damage to your opponent. What you would do is you would get Substitute, and then you see where it says tribute a monster to summon a frog from your deck.
Okay.
You tribute a monster to summon a frog from your deck. And if that card's Ronin Toad, you get to sack the Ronin Toad and bring another frog from the deck. You bring Swap Frog from the deck, that sends another Ronin Toad in. You banish Ronin Toad in, and then you keep summoning over and over and over and over again, and your Mass Driver kills them.
The what? The Mass Driver?
Yeah, Mass Driver is a spell card that I have not shown you, but it is banned. It is currently banned. It was one of the original first turn kill decks, to where you could summon a bunch of times with Substitute. Notably, Substitute doesn't say once per turn. Substitute was banned for a long time, but it's limited to 1 on the ban list right now because Mass Driver is still. If they brought Mass Driver back, I'm pretty sure people would still be trying to frog FTK people, and that's what the deck was called, Frog FTK. Later on, yeah, later on,
I guess that's why we call it FTK. It's not first turn kill; it's the frog turn kill.
Frog turn kill. Oh my gosh. Also, later on, they found that Totally Awesome was too good in multiples. Right now, Totally Awesome is at 3 on the ban list, but it was at 1 for a long time, and I believe it was banned at one point before. Totally Awesome was, which is interesting. Ronin Toad, the one that you can keep bringing back out of the graveyard, is banned right now.
Oh wow, that's a banned card.
Yes, this is a banned card. Because
who would have thought cards that tutor for other cards would be fair? Although all the cards sort of do that in some capacity.
Let's just put it this way. Frogs are probably the best example, one of the best examples in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! On why they put once per turn on cards. Ronin Toad,
right. Also, okay, yeah, this was the card. Actually, sorry, this wasn't a tutoring card. This was the Gravecrawler card.
Yes.
To continuously bring it back from the graveyard over and over and over again.
So
yeah, that is a great example. They did not have that. You can only use this effect once per turn, so they effed up big time here.
Yeah, that once per turn is not on Ronin Toad, and it's also not on Substitute. So you can just keep going through your frogs in your deck over and over again and kill your opponent. So Substitute was banned at one point, and it's back at 1 on the ban list now, just because Mass Driver is still banned. But if Mass Driver was not banned, people would still be trying to frog turn kill people.
That is so funny. These cute little frogs were so dangerous.
They are very dangerous. It has won multiple YCSs. Frogs have been a good deck ever since freaking they came out, basically. So it's a very good deck, very popular deck, and I'm excited to say that even though Marincess cards look broken and Goateys look broken, Frogs were the one that was banned the most.
Honestly, I didn't find the Marincess deck that strong. I was not impressed by the Marincess. This looks really convoluted to me.
Marincess players in shambles in the comments. He said they weren't playable.
Yeah. Sorry, you're playing it because you like the cute art on these things.
Well, he said what we were all thinking.
That's fine. Yeah, exactly. And you know what? I mean, that's okay. That's fine, but doesn't look competitive to me.
All right. Well,
it was not even in my consideration at all when judging these archetypes.
Yeah, it was frogs or goatees.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you once again, Nikachu, for coming on the show. It was a pleasure having you once again for like the 7th time. But
yeah, you're welcome. If you love me, I'm gonna be invited on again, no matter what.
Yeah, he's come on the show this many times, right? He's got to like it at some point. Like, you can't just do it and not like it, right? And
yeah, I'll make sure before the next time I start watching the 2nd season of Yu-Gi-Oh.
I was just about to say that. Watch another one. At least watch the legendary Fisherman episode. Anyway, if you want to have your chance of being on the show, join the Patreon. The Patreon's down in the description below. There's a bunch of different tiers, but there's one of them that lets you actually be on the show and be a contestant yourself. We have Patreon videos coming out all the time, so go ahead and check that out. Thank you once again for hanging out with us, and I'll see you in the next one. And as always, peace.